Good morning, good morning. I hope you're safe and well because that is the most important thing. As you can see, I'm here in the Scottish office of TT Environmental. Mother has come out of hospital now, luckily, but we're looking at putting her into a care home. So this Christmas is not a particularly relaxing one for the entire family. The good news is she's doing much better now she's out of hospital. So thank you for all your good wishes. Right, work. Okay, first things first. Enormous kudos to Doug Leach of the CBA. We were the people who broke the news that Annex 8 to CLP had been retained. In fact, Ali, my colleague, worked out it had been retained in 3 different points of law. And when we put that out as a news flash from Chemicals Coffee Time, Doug Leach from CBA just took it up and ran with it. So it was very nice to see CBA making the official announcement on LinkedIn, at least, but sharing the announcement that it has been withdrawn from the 1st of January 2024. Now, we knew this was coming, but it's a great chance to say thank you to Doug for all his hard work. And in fact, we wrote the newsletter before the announcement was made, but we have a little list of heroes for 2023, and Doug is top of that list. I'll tell you about the others later on in this video. So that's the GB news. The EU news, there's only one bit of EU news, which is the CLP draft. This is amending the Legislative Act. It is not agreed yet. It is a draft, but for those of us who are nerds and have been watching this entire saga, it's gone backwards and forwards within the process. It's been to trilogue that technically finished on the 6th of December, and they wanted to publish something before Christmas. So this came out yesterday or the day before, I believe. And as one of my correspondents said, a nice bit of light reading over the Christmas holidays. Now, Ali has actually done a bit of minor analysis on it with the heads up on things we're interested in, like the font sizes. There have been changes in some of the proposals, as we feared with trilogue. And if you're not already a subscriber, then I will give you the link here. But yeah, the whole thing, that's the link going in below. The whole thing has been a nightmare, hasn't it? And it still has to be formally approved, but at least it's giving us an insight into what happens. So that's the kind of big news over Christmas. We are expecting it to go through sort of Q1 in 2024, but watch this space. I don't think there can be any changes, but I mean, the EU is such a complex organization, and it's the very antithesis of democracy, in my view. It has been designed specifically so that it's run by technocrats rather than on the plebiscite. And anybody who thinks it's democratic hasn't been listening to what they talk about. Clearly, they haven't looked at how the EU is set up. Leaving that little bit of politics on one side, shall we? Yeah, it's very, very arcane. It's very difficult to decipher. So yeah, that's kind of the work kind of things. Now, earlier, I did promise you our CLP heroes, so I'm just going to go and read this off our newsletter. Apologies. So first of all, our first hero is, as I said, Doug Leach of CBA, who has used all of his immense resources to get Annex 8 to CLP in the UK, or GB, removed. We also have to thank Ian Stone and his team at ChemExpo UK, who ran a very successful Chem UK 2023. And the Chemical Regulation Self-Help Group that we organise are going to be in attendance for 2024, which we're really looking forward to. And I think finally, we've got 2 heroes at the HSE. The first hero is the Regulatory Help Desk team, who have done so much to help industry get through the Brexit process. And we are still in the Brexit process because we still haven't got a clue for how the Windsor Protocol affects most of chemicals. And things like DOINS and goodness knows, things are crawling out of the woodwork because of the very slapdash way in which REACH and CLP were implemented. And that is not the HSE or DEFRA's fault. That is entirely the politicians' fault. The other HSE heroes are the CLP team themselves, who have been beavering away behind the scenes on proposed mandatory classifications. Have you seen the number of mandatory classification proposals that they have been working on? We don't necessarily agree with all of them, but in the circumstances, we've done a fantastic job. And we're now in a situation where 17th and 18th ATP have been brought in the EU. And we know which ones of those are also in GBMCL. So they are running to stay in one place to catch up with all the stuff coming out of the EU. So I think well done to everybody I've just mentioned. You are all working amazingly hard at keeping the chemical industry in GB and the EU, who is selling into GB, going. So that's a nice thing to be able to publicly acknowledge people like that. Thank you, one and all. So the final thing is our Christmas reasons to be cheerful, because we're not having the newsletter next week. I'm likely to be back up in Scotland, for example. Yeah, there are just not enough hours in the day at the moment. So the first one is a video of Dave Hill from Slade going into what in the olden days we would call a special school, an educational college, I think, for people with special educational needs, with the Merry Christmas Everybody, just on a guitar, with the music teacher on another guitar, completely acoustic. A beautiful, beautiful moment on my favorite Christmas pop song. No, something in my eye there. No, I'm not crying, honest, it's you. Lovely stuff. And a couple of church music Christmas things. The first one is from one of my favorite choirs come choir masters, from Barry Rose at Guildford Cathedral in the olden days. Up Good Christian Folk and Listen. And it's not that widely known, but it's a really cheerful little tune. And then, of course, How Do We Start the Service on Christmas Eve, which is the start of Christmas proper. It always starts with Once in Royal David City, and this is one with the soprano, whether girl or boy, singing in the darkness. And this is from 2011 from King's College Chapel. Beautiful, beautiful solo. Funnily enough, the choir and the organ are slightly out of sync at times, and that's what happens in real life, but they get it back together in the end. And when you hear that, you know Christmas has really arrived. So whatever you're doing over Christmas, I hope you have a lovely, lovely time. I hope you're all safe and well. And I look forward to chatting to you again in the new year. From all of us here at TT Environmental, Happy Christmas. Bye.